Look, we all love boarding the hype train and riding it off into the sun, but can you think of any games that actually benefited from being consistently built up for months and months? The reason something like The Witcher 3 blew everyone's collective socks off was because we didn't know everything about it going in, save for a handful of moaners griping about the graphical downgrade seen between the announcement and release. Something else that factors immensely into my overall point here, the final product was an outstanding achievement in every respect. Contrastingly, just look at the Order 1886, Watch Dogs, and every yearly Assassin's Creed for proof of how hype can easily translate into disappointment. Granted, some games are just plain bad with capital letters intended, but the way the industry markets everything as some annual second coming every single time has a hand in their reception too. I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com, and for all sorts of reasons, these are the 7 most hotly anticipated games of 2016 that are destined to disappoint you. Number 7, Gears of War 4. Look, I'm a huge Gears of War fan, yes, even Judgment, but after playing the beta for Gears 4, it just didn't feel right. Basic animation and the fidelity of controls weren't there, and even the graphics weren't anything to really write home about. It's not what you need, as when it comes to console exclusives, this is going to be going up against the mighty Uncharted 4. Even the trailer mimicked the original Gears usage of Gary Jules' Mad World by including Disturbed's rendition of The Sound of Silence, but it's too much of the same, and nowhere near enough forward momentum. There's a pervading sense that new developers, the Coalition, don't really know what they're going to do with the franchise, and after spinning their wheels to buy some time with the Ultimate Edition, having to say, look guys, this is what we've been working on this entire time, as the beta played like some formulaic cover shooter, it just doesn't cut it. Although, to be honest, if we get an answer as to why the Locust Queen was half human and looked to be Marcus's mother the whole time, all will be forgiven. At number 6, the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Regardless of the fact they've removed the turn-based battles, and regardless of the fact that it's going to be releasing in episodic installments, which totally worked for Hitman, no seriously, that game is freaking awesome, Final Fantasy VII's remake will never, and I do mean never, recapture the appeal of the original. Think about it. Back in 1997, we'd never seen anything like Final Fantasy VII before. From the incredibly well-realized characters to the exemplary score and everything in between, all the people demanding this be remade were teenagers or younger at the time of its original release, and were subsequently enamored by its unique escapist charms. Now we've got open world games like GTA, narrative-heavy experiences like Gone Home, and expansive RPGs like Fallout 4 and The Witcher 3. All of these tick boxes that Final Fantasy VII originally did, and then some. The very reason Square never attempted this in the first place was both budgetary and them saying it would feel like going backwards. So in an attempt to bring it up to speed, they've added all sorts of extra features and removed the ones we originally loved, like turn-based battling. All of this gets away from the fact that really, honestly, all fans really want is a carbon copy re-release of the original with better graphics. Number 5, Mighty Number 9. Damn it, Mega Man, Beck. Actually getting invested in one of your releases isn't supposed to be the hard part. Now, a quick bit of backstory. Capcom isn't making Mega Man anymore, so original creator Keiji Inafune took to Kickstarter to get the ball rolling on an independent release. Cue mass investment and the meeting of every stretch goal they could imagine, resulting in more money that they didn't know what to do with. Inafune then confused everyone by kickstarting other projects, all the while delaying the game repeatedly, finally dropping a trailer that was, and I really don't mean to be harsh for the sake of it, god-awful. Graphics look positively PS2-like, the hook of this all-new gameplay is the ability to dash, and the narrator is some sort of cool dude who makes jokes about how you'll make the enemies cry like an anime fan on prom night. Like, seriously? That was a thing? Like, did they forget who they're marketing to? Why would anime fans be crying, and why just anime fans? I mean, is this 1995? Even parodying Warcraft died out in 2006 following that South Park episode. It just doesn't make any sense. All we wanted was a fan-funded Mega Man game built by and for the people that got the series to where it is today. How hard is that? Number 4, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. But you cried, we're already disappointed in Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. And I say, yes, but nowhere near as much as you will be at launch. Remember how Black Ops 3 looked to be a futuristic take on past installments with sprinklings of new age technology and fancy wall running, and then turned into whatever the this is? The fact of the matter is, Infinity Ward didn't know the reception to Infinite Warfare would be tantamount to Satan weighing all over your cornflakes until that original trailer debuted. The story's already set in stone, as are the spaceships, as are the intergalactic conflicts, and as are the inevitable space zombies, because of course they're now a thing too. D-Ream might have sang It Can Only Get Better, but at this rate it's more of a case of weathering the storm and just seeing who makes it out alive. Number 3, The Last Guardian. Putting aside the fact that both Ico and Shadow of the Colossus are incredibly high regarded games you'll most likely be telling your grandkids about, spiritual threequel The Last Guardian has been in development for, well, about 10 years. The mythology it ties into spans both previously mentioned titles, and even then it was originally unveiled back in 2009. Do you realise how much gaming has changed since then? How many systems, mechanics, general gameplay tweaks we've seen emerge and refine the experience in that time? Better animation systems, more helpful checkpointing, even the base AI programming for the animal companion Trico has gone through a number of fundamental changes, rebuilding the game from the ground up over and over again. Games that survived development hell include L.A. Noire and Team Fortress 2, but those that emerged to be cobbled together messes existing purely out of time include Duke Nukem Forever. So, yeah. Number 2, Battlefield 1. I'm all for a return to old-school military shooters, and contextualizing it in World War I is a masterstroke considering the conflict itself is almost untouched, save for the excellent Valiant Hearts, which you should really check out. However, this is still a game from EA DICE, and what was their last shooter? Well, Star Wars Battlefront, otherwise known as Hold Left Trigger then Right Trigger, the game. I'm not saying they won't be bringing their A-game to Battlefield 1 considering the lackluster response that Hardline received, but to act like this is the holy grail of first-person shooters, the messianic return of the franchise that'll give the genre a much-needed injection of innovation, is a stretch to say the least. Plus, when it comes to games revitalizing shooters and making you love them all over again, Doom and Overwatch are already out, and they couldn't be further away from the gritty military themes that we got so tired of in the first place. Number 1, No Man's Sky. Here's the thing with No Man's Sky. You're only going to be disappointed if you don't know what you're in for, and you don't know what you're in for because the marketing has been less than stellar. The hook of No Man's Sky is in exploring. It's in seeing the various procedurally generated algorithms Hello Games have written for planets, creatures, and even their sound banks all come to life. It's the Star Trek-esque appeal of venturing into the final frontier and categorizing everything you come across. Does the idea of a random formula conjuring up unique beasts and weather patterns just for you sound exciting? Good, because ostensibly, and with no derision intended, No Man's Sky's appeal is a glorious tech demo. A first step into a method of world building that the entire industry can use going forward. If you don't like the idea of landing on a planet and wandering for hours, finding creatures that you can name and then jetting off to mine minerals for a new warp drive, No Man's Sky probably isn't for you. Instead of being some all-genre encompassing masterclass in game design and the single title whispered from the lips of 1,000 dying millennials when asked what the meaning of life is in 80 years' time, No Man's Sky is already a phenomenal achievement and should continue to be so, but only if you know exactly what to expect. So they are just a handful of games that I'm a little bit worried about for the rest of 2016. Please let us know your own in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Feel free to follow us on Facebook. I'm Scott from What Culture, and I'll catch you soon.